All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wrestling Talk. Even though we got to figure out a name for this little segment that we do. Right now it's Wrestling Talk. With my boy right here, Will Davis from Will's Review, and myself from the LDM show. We do this once in a while, especially when something big like this happens, and me and Will is like diehard fans. So we love to speak about the conspiracy part of it and everything else that goes on. But if you guys do not know, WWE released almost 20 something wrestlers. Yeah. So we're going to be talking about them and where they, probably pretty much are going to go.
So to be fair, some of the names on this list were not active wrestlers. They were actually just part of WWE management behind the scenes. And supposedly, according to Vince, these guys were all released because the company wasn't making enough money coming in to be paying everybody out. Because it's been about 2 months they've had no audience, right?
Right. And you think about it as once a week, 3 times a week, because 3 shows. So you're looking at 12 shows a month that they lost.
No, see, that's where you're sleeping on. You have 12 live air shows.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, the live air. And
right?
That's more money that they make.
Live air. But then they make a lot of money on the shadow shows. The blackout show. So you're missing that Tuesday night show that you're not making money on. You're also forgetting that 205 is its own separate shows. They actually sell separate tickets just for that.
Right.
So that's at least 16 shows. Then you got your shadow shows, which is at least 1 to 2 a week. So let's go with 1 just to play it safe. You're losing out on 20 shows worth of stadium tickets weekly or monthly. Right? And then at the same time, the pay-per-views. Right, WrestleMania is your biggest thing.
Yeah,
WrestleMania is a full week of activities that people are paying for, and you lost out on that.
And I was trying to do some research. I haven't found out if they giving tickets back or are they going to just say, "Hey, next WrestleMania we got you." Because some people brought it. I haven't seen nothing about it. So
I don't know what they do with those early.
If any of you guys are watching, got no sign about it, let us know.
Definitely, because people start buying WrestleMania tickets the year before.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and I know. They were trying to sell out and they couldn't because people got nervous, but they still sold it. Yeah. Especially the active part, not the event itself, but the active.
Yeah.
When you go in, the meet and greet. Like they sell like that real quick.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's very hard, but there's a couple. We're gonna go down the list and we're gonna give our opinion where they're going, if they're going anywhere. But remember, guys, for you guys that are watching. There's Impact Wrestling, AEW, and WWE, which is the ones, and then you got the dark.
They're the biggest names.
So far,
but,
yeah.
Also now you have NJPW now being televised. And you also have Ring of Honor, where a lot of these current WWE stars got their start, including Adam Cole. And, Evolve is like the minor league of WWE now, so it can end up there.
And what was the other one? Wrestling, World Wrestling,
NWA.
Yeah, so it's like Spanish thing is originally from Puerto Rico. It's WWN, I think it is, or WWA, I think it is.
Something like that.
Yeah, World Wrestling Academy or something, because the cousins are there. And they got released too anyway.
Primo and Carlito?
Yeah. They're the ones that
started that.
They're in there.
Yeah,
so.
I don't think any of these names are heading that way. Though.
Yeah.
I mean, if
unless they want a suntan.
If they're gonna exactly, but if they're gonna go smaller league, like if you're gonna go something that may not be televised, it's gonna be NWA, which is only internet based, Ring of Honor, and NJPW. But they've recently become televised. Although I don't think it's live. I think it's normally like a week or 2 or something behind.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like the way Impact used to be.
Well, first on the list, Kurt Angle retiring.
You think he's just done?
Not done completely, but for a little bit. And then he's going to probably come back as a recruiter or manager.
Well, that's what he's been doing lately. He's been, say the past year or so after his defeat by Baron Corbin. Right. He's been working behind the scenes for WWE. I don't know if he'll go to full recruitment. I think he might end up doing some stuff either at the training facility in Florida, so that way he can be stable.
So you think he's still going to be in WWE?
I think he's going to be involved. Even after his run in Impact Wrestling,
he's not grandfathered, right? He's not with Steamboat and them, right?
No.
Okay.
He came in definitely after that.
Oh, okay.
His big time in WWE was really closer to John Cena, just before John Cena came.
Right.
But he's still number one, or the first Hall of Famer of Impact Wrestling. Mm-hmm. He's a Hall of Famer in WWE. He's done, multiple accomplishments. It's in his blood to be a wrestler, and that's what everybody says. He's gonna come back in some way, shape, or form to the industry, and more than likely back home to WWE.
Right. Because I don't see someone that's been in wrestling so long be like, I'm retiring for good. No, give it a couple of months or after the summer, then he's going to be like, what to do?
Worst case scenario, we'll see him pop up at the Legends Night every year.
Yeah. Or a Royal Rumble, maybe, an event, something like that.
Hey, he may come and do it. They didn't know how the hell to tell Ric Flair to shut up and sit down. Hell, even this past Monday. Woo!
Right?
Oh, dear God.
God. It's like him and his daughter's getting a little sickening after a while. Yeah.
After a while. I was tired of Charlotte before she was a freaking wrestler.
Hey, but again, these are our opinions. You don't like it, hey.
That's on you.
That's on you. But we've been watching wrestling for years, so and I'm still watching it. I'm back now to 1980. What was it? 1998.
Oh, you're watching the network in order?
Yeah, I'm watching it all again, and I'm like, wow. The days, how it was before and stuff like that.
Man, seeing Stone Cold in his young form is just the weirdest thing.
Yeah, I think that's the only part that I like, because now it's Stone Cold, The Rock, and DX.
Oh yeah, well where you're at, 98.
Yeah, they all fighting.
Those, the Attitude Era, especially for me, the Attitude Era that bridged into the Ruthless Aggression, I think is the best era of wrestling in my opinion. I'm not just saying that because I grew up in it. I've also watched everything, but I think you had more entertaining, more lively MCs in the earlier years in the 80s, right? And that's because of cocaine. But those guys were more fun. They were better trash talk and stuff like that. But when you get down to what made wrestling the phenomenon that it was, right? Wrestling had been around for years, smaller leagues, televised, all that. It became a real spectacle for a whole new generation of people when DX, when you had Edge and Christian, when you had The Rock and Stone Cold, and they were fighting, each other, they were fighting the Authority, when they had WCW to fight, like all the back and forth, all the theatrics, all the anger and the violence. That's when wrestling was really when everybody was just like, people who don't even watch wrestling now and never watched it before tuned in to be like, what's happening next?
And then all the bikinis.
Oh, man.
Because I'm in the stable area.
Tori Wilson,
yeah,
Trish Stratus, Lita, Sable. Molly Holly was a baddie on the low.
Yeah, there's some good ones now.
Keebler.
Yeah. Well, next one on the one who cried on his Twitter, who really broke down, Drake Maverick. I didn't mean it like that, but No,
but he cried on TV too.
I was like, okay.
All right, so the weird thing about this is that they announced his release, and then we saw him wrestle 2 nights later.
I'm talking about, if he doesn't win, he's gonna get
But the thing too is that they put him into a round robin tournament, right? Just a few days before deciding to release him. Then still have him wrestle that first night on Wednesday, right? But in a round robin tournament, he has to fight everyone in his division. So are we going to see him actually finish the last 2 fights he's supposed to have, or do they mess up that entire bracket? Like, this was just not to say that this wasn't a deserved release, because they weren't doing much with him. Like, they
tried with
they tried to make him manager and all that, and it was interesting for a while. His little storyline was funny, but you didn't utilize him as a great manager of 205, which is what I honestly thought they should have done, because he was really fun on Impact as a manager, even more so than as a wrestler, right? And then you don't let him really wrestle, right? And then you don't even utilize him on Raw. With that back and forth, like, we still have R-Truth chasing that belt every 5 seconds, right? Yeah. Why isn't Drake with it? Because they're back and forth with the best part of the 24/7 championship.
Yeah, and then they stopped,
out of nowhere.
It was him and R-Truth, and if he doesn't get the belt, he doesn't get the wife.
Yeah, right. It was all this nonsense. It was funny. There
was an actual story,
right?
And now they just made it like just anybody can grab it.
And R-Truth is the 5th most winningest champion in WWE history. Just remember that.
Yep.
Black guy.
And they're not saying nothing.
Nothing. Well, actually, you know what? Somebody made a point to mention it, not at Mania, but the pay-per-view before, and they just glossed over it afterwards.
Yeah. I guess it's because they don't really consider that belt a championship belt, you know?
But I feel
because it goes back and forth so much. It's like
if you throw it out there, it's a championship.
Yeah,
so
you should have not done it.
That's it.
Because now he even beat Flair and John Cena of having the most belts.
I think the best part is that the reason why this championship is even relevant is, remember when they had the 24/7 Hardcore Championship?
Yeah, that's what I thought they were gonna do. They made a joke of the belt to me in that part. Like I thought it was just gonna be them fighting in the ring or fighting outside or you know something. But hey, Drake, I see him going to Indies. I don't see him going to Impact.
I don't think
definitely not AEW.
I don't feel like Impact is going to take back anybody because they feel slighted by a bunch of people who they made relevant again and left them to go back to WWE.
Right.
He has a better shot joining AEW. I think his best bet would be going to Japan. To be honest.
Yeah, indeed.
I feel like they'd respect his time as an American wrestler and actually would give him a push.
Yeah.
And honestly, his in-ring skills aren't anything to laugh at. Not to say they're beyond exceptional, but if you actually remember him as a wrestler, he could do his thing in the ring. He's not.
Yeah.
He's not useless at all.
That's why I said it. His skills level was there, but they just didn't do the right push. With a lot of these people, they didn't do the right push.
Well, speaking of not doing the right push, the next name on the list is Carl Anderson, which of course means you have to bring up Luke Gallows. Yeah. Right? Now, I believe
both of them released, by the way.
Yeah, both of them released. It looks like they're going back to Japan. But, I mean, Luke Gallows has been with WWE on and off for years. I think you remember the Festus run. And Carl Anderson never really had a major run in WWE. Right. The two of them were coming off such a high from their tag team championship run and the Bullet Club and everything in Japan that, of course, they've had a couple of championship reigns, but honestly, I don't feel like the U.S. audience ever gravitated to their WWE.
Because they were making them look stupid. It's like, come on, man. These guys are powerful tag teams from Japan. They came with a couple of people that went to NXT.
Right.
So, and they were real famous in Japan for you to bring them here.
And you bring in AJ Styles, right? You bring in AJ Styles. You guys have affiliations with NJPW. You have Carl Anderson come. You have Luke Gallows come behind AJ Styles, who then had on a magnificent one-year run at your championship. They have a fake Bullet Club little thing going on, but then you keep breaking it up and whatever. I honestly, as these two, I would have completely restarted the Bullet Club and tried to bring the Bullet Club to the U.S. and then have a U.S. versus Japan Bullet Club sort of thing going on as a promotional thing. Right. Mm-hmm. I think that would have been the best possible outcome utilizing these two and the history that they have. I think there was even a shot with whatchamacallit, the Irish guy. The Irish guy who was just about to fight the guys from the UK and he just came back, the Prince.
Oh, shoot. I know what you're talking about.
The Demon. Yeah, I'm slipping on names right now, but he came in at one point and did the Bullet Club thing with them for like a 2-3 week period.
Damn, and that's one of my son's favorites,
right? I know it's gonna come to me later. I'm gonna be like,
I hear the music. Oh, goodness.
Yeah, I know. I feel bad when I slip names.
Wow.
Yeah, you get so used to the nicknames. Every 5 seconds they call them but their name. But yeah, so what you could have.
But now he's.
Well, they don't know what to do with him now
because they put him towards the championship and then they took him out like.
So he was doing his run in Raw and they were never going to give him the title again. He lost his hype because of the injury, right?
Right.
That's fine, fair. You bring him to NXT, you make him a
Finn Balor. Damn, I'm like thinking in my head. Finn Balor.
Then you have him go for a run on NXT and then decide, you know what? We don't have anybody for Walter anymore.
Right.
And then you send him to the UK. But then here was what your problem was. If he stays in the UK and he's running this hype now from NXT to the NXT UK, you're going to lose him because the UK wrestlers were about to stop wrestling. So they had to then take him off his run where he was going to be the guy to challenge Walter and bring him back to the U.S. with no storyline.
Yeah.
And now him and Velveteen are going to be chasing the title. And then he just gets jumped this past week to skip a match. Like,
yeah, and then he went in Velveteen's face. I'm like, okay, why are they jumping him from person to person? Like, but hey, what do you think, Luke and
Luke and Carl are they're going back to Japan. I don't think either wrestler in their solo career had more success than in Japan. Not even as a tag team, just in general.
Oh yeah, just in general.
Had more success than in Japan. And the one thing about the Bullet Club is that they are kind of the newer generation version of NWO.
Right.
And there's always infighting. So if these two come back from America, either as, we're the original Bullet Club, or as a deterrent or an opposition to the Bullet Club, either storyline works to build that faction within a faction war. That's always been the story of the Bullet Club. So they're walking right into money. Like
bringing a tag team to WWE and then acting like they were better than Luke, and all of a sudden they come out. Wait. We've been hearing all this in Japan. What is going on? Writers, we trying to give you hints. We're tired of the same stories.
Right. So something to work with.
But let's get to one of the ones that definitely pissed me off when WWE took him for no reason. EC3.
EC3 essentially carried Impact Wrestling on his back for over a year, right? He had multiple rivalries. He was the face of the company. He was the a-hole who learned to wrestle, essentially. He is originally, though, a WWE byproduct of Tough Enough.
Right. And
when they took him back, I was very excited because he had grown as a wrestler. He had led a company. And they seemed like they were going to utilize him. The issue at the time was that NXT was still on their 1 hour minor league-ish kind of level. And he got hurt just before their full 2 hour TV stint. So the injury took off all the buzz, all the wave. There was no storyline for him. He essentially kind of hurt himself off the show, which I think this is a temporary release, because now that he is getting healthy again, and NXT is gonna need some new faces soon.
Bring him back.
I think they'll bring him back. I think this is just like, hey, dude, you've been hurt for too long.
Yeah, I think he's probably one of them that's in worth.
He's expensive. He's actually expensive because his worth is I ran a company.
If they don't, Impact would definitely take him back.
I don't know if Impact.
Well, not even Impact.
I see him going to either AEW. But the thing about it is that there's currently AEW is getting so flooded that you can get lost in the sauce again. His best move would either be going to Japan or going to NWA or even making run at Ring of Honor. I think he has to think about, what? I ran a televised brand. Let me go something that's a big indie scene.
Like AEW has a non-television brand, right?
No, AEW is a televised brand.
No, but they have another one, because I heard Chris Jericho talking about some dark side or something.
There may be a minor league version to them.
Because they were talking about they have a dark side. That's why you don't see that the gay guy.
Right, certain people. Yeah.
It's like an NXT to them.
Right.
They have their own.
But these guys, I think for him, he needs to go back somewhere to build up his hype again.
Right.
I think that's just the be all end all. He needs to go somewhere to build back.
Yeah, because even if he comes back, they're gonna be like, "Who? Oh yeah, that was that guy." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and you don't want that type of who. You want when that music hits, they're gonna know who it is.
And you had guys like whatchamacallit, Damian Sandow, who went to NWA, and now he's making a big name for himself over there. The same thing with the guy with the elbow, the British dude who used to talk a lot of smack.
Oh.
I think he's the current NWA champion right now.
Oh wow.
The guy who led Nexus.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the current NWA champion.
Damn, starts with a B too.
Yeah, it does.
But
that's the place for EC3 to go.
And plus he was following
Wade Barrett.
Wade Barrett. That I was like, damn, there's a B. I'm like, you know how I try to figure out his name by the movie that he made.
Oh yes.
That's why I was like, wait. Yeah, Wade Barrett. He followed Alberto Del Rio a couple of times, and Alberto Del Rio pushed him over there and said, let's do this. And people like that, and that's another thing too. Alberto Del Rio has hookups, so he might hook some of these people up.
Yeah, but a lot of what Alberto Del Rio has hookups with is going to actually lead people over to Impact.
Yeah, Impact and overseas, because he does and he has a stock in the Puerto Rico one. So
Yeah.
But next is a little bummer for me because I
love him.
Yeah, Lio Rush. I was like, wow, now they're using him and he was doing this.
I think this just goes back to the original reason why they parted in the first way. Right? I don't think Vince and them have ever
like
truly
use
gotten
their
over
excuse.
it. Like, yeah, I mean, originally Lio Rush had a big push. I mean, he proved himself as a mic champion when he was doing his thing with Lashley.
Right.
He proved his wrestling skills. And I mean, when he came back, it came back with he pretty much was just like, if I'm coming back, you guys are gonna make me champion. Because when they originally laid him off of sorts, the internet wasn't happy with it.
Oh no,
nobody was happy with it. He had such a big internet pull that they were kind of forced to ask him back, and there was a stipulation.
Oh, there's always is. Believe me, if I'm in the wrestling, I'm like, you want me back? All right, well, I need this, this, and this, and that. You know what I'm saying?
And honestly, he's a great person. I feel Lio Rush should go to AEW, not even in spite of WWE, but AEW has made mention to a new mid-card championship, like you know, the United States Championship, the Intercontinental.
Because now they're doing the TNT. And I think they're going to be doing the like heavyweight next. And
right.
So they are going to be doing
so
a couple ones.
There's going to be a division for him. And honestly, we've already seen him take on wrestlers a bit bigger than him. I feel like for a lot of those mid-card wrestlers that are part of AEW, they're going to get more TV time. And it's an opportunity for someone with as big of a name and fan base as him to really chase that.
Sure.
So he's one of the few where I will say going to AEW will definitely be a good move. Because they can't lose him in the sauce. No. He is the gold standard.
And he can move. This boy.
He's quick. Yeah. I mean, even when he came back to 205, he had a whole new set of moves. And you were like, I thought you were sitting on your butt for mad long.
It looked like when he was with Bobby Lashley, he like said, okay, since I'm only talking, I might as well be training. And he did it smart. Next.
Kurt Hawkins. Wasn't this the man that had like
so many losses.
The 200 plus losses.
Yeah.
I'm surprised because I figured after making him eat crap for so long, you wouldn't do him dirty like this.
And they did.
But didn't they also give him a short tag team championship?
Yeah, he was tag team champion. But he was somebody before he went to WWE.
Yeah, he was.
Then they brought him in thinking that they were going to pump him up, and they just made him like the players from the Hollow Gold Charlotters that always lose.
Yeah, he just got caught up being a main event wrestler.
So, he has to go back to the Indies and bring his name up.
Yeah, he has to. He's going to either Ring of Honor or NWA. I don't think WWE's knocking him for a temporary thing. I think it's time to go. Same thing for Heath Slater, who they recently let go. Yeah,
Heath Slater. Yeah, he definitely needed to push his name as much as possible.
His last chance was really with Rhino.
Yeah, that was a good thing. And then Rhino just,
he made his thing. He went over to Impact.
Yep. He was like, I'm gone. And it was because they took the belt so quickly. Like they gave him the belt to shut him up, basically.
Yeah.
And he was like, I didn't come here for that. So. But, Kurt Hawkins have to go. Maybe change his whole name or something. I don't know.
Yeah, he needs to revamp his whole character. And WWE didn't give him enough time to even really do that.
Right.
So, I see him going to Ring of Honor. I see him going to NWA. I don't think he's going to any of the bigger names. Although he's one of those people who Impact could try and take out of pure desperation. Because Impact, I mean, they're televised. They're Tuesday nights. And it's not much. I mean, you got Tessa Blanchard as your champion. Nothing against Tessa, but when you're telling me now that all your male wrestlers are equivalent to all your female wrestlers, it's not really a boost for the women. It's more so just like, so you're telling me Tessa Blanchard can beat up, let's say, Bobby Lashley? Like, really? Yeah. That's what you're telling me. You're equating her to EC3. It doesn't help the organization. It doesn't. Especially at a time where a lot of people are already looking at you as you need to go.
Yeah.
And it's really weird because they recently just merged with AAA. Mm-hmm. They took their championship.
That's some of the stuff that they're doing. I'm like, why? Like at a time like this,
they merged with the secondary Japanese league. They merged with the Canadian league. They merged with the Mexican. But then they recently took the AAA championship, and everybody's just like, well, one of the only championships in the world that's glorified possibly as much as the WWE championship is Mexico's AAA,
AAA.
and it's going to Impact?
Mm-hmm. That's why AEW said, let me do the TNT championship, which, if you don't know, that's an old championship that was out before. To me, I'm like, I'm a controversial person, so I'm like, is they trying to smack WWE in the face and saying, hey, look, we're coming back with the TNT championship, you know? Because that was back in the war days as well, so. But to keep it going down the list, we have who needs to go back to Indy 2, Eric Young.
I feel they didn't push him the right way.
He was better in TNT. He was better. I mean, TNA. He was better there.
Yeah, he was bigger. He was much bigger. But I think the issue was that they stopped his growth there too.
Yeah, and they threw him in WWE, and they just didn't do nothing with him.
No. When he was in Impact, they legitimately, like, they were making him a front runner. He was getting a chance at the championship. Then they kind of shut him down and then backwashed him. And he had a big run with his his wife, ODB or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? And then all of a sudden she was getting a push, but he fell behind. And I think he just wasn't liking it there. So then they moved him to NXT. He had Sanity. And Sanity on NXT was doing great.
That's why I was like, yo, NXT was Sanity but was crazy.
The issue was just that when you moved them up to the big leagues at the time, right before NXT was a major brand, they didn't fit.
And to me, I think it's when you move someone from NXT to try to put them into WWE, you had to have someone that they're going to ride with. They didn't have no one that can match their group like that.
Yeah,
so that's why it just seemed funny.
There wasn't another group to match, and then one thing that happens a lot for a lot of these guys, like you saw it with Adam Rose, right? The indie scene, the indie feel, they like gimmicks. They like all the extraness, the liveliness, because for them it's a big
because they're more younger,
right? Know? But when you hit the big league, the main stage, the 2 hour, whatever, the network, the people who are already watching are kind of like, what nonsense is this? Where's my heavy hitters? Where's the cool move? This and that.
Because you got to remember, these are some of the people from the Attitude Eras, and they teaching their kids, and their kids been watching with them.
See, if No Way Jose had lost the dance party and just came in with that mean attitude types nonsense, he would have gone further. But because he had the whole gimmick to him, I think it really hurt.
Because he's to me, I think he would play, and he's another guy that they released. Mm-hmm. But to me, he's a good bad guy. If he would have been a bad guy, like these guys would have been dancing around, and then he would have been like, you know what? I'm tired of y'all dancing next to me, and get him.
He needed a heel turn, hands down. Needed a heel turn. But no, Eric Young. I think there was an opportunity for him if NXT had to become a 2 hour brand earlier. And even when they tried to keep bringing him back, he didn't have the appeal once they broke up Sanity. I think you have one of them is a part of the UK team that's dominating, right? The other guy, we've lost track of him.
Yeah, I don't even know where he went.
And he had a chance, a storyline for a minute fighting on NXT when they became a 2 hour brand, but they broke up. The only one that's being successful is the Scott that's over with Alexa Bliss.
Yeah. And she's...
I love her. Yeah. But the thing about it is, the one thing that hasn't changed is that her character is the same from Sanity. They watered it down a little because she's not that crazy as she was before, In fact, she's just as crazy in the ring. Oh, she definitely is more attractive. Yeah. She's just as crazy in the ring. It's just that now they allow her to talk. She's not a rabid dog.
Right. Well, at least she stood there, and they needed someone like that.
They did.
But they need her to go single and get the belt.
I think at some point Eric Young and the rest of Sanity should reunite, but they need an opposition. They need a team to fight. If Sanity was around now, they'd be fighting the Monday Night Messiah, hands down.
Yep. But if they do come back before the Monday Night Messiah finishes, go back to NXT. They have a couple of groups. Yeah, I think they need to
go back to NXT too.
Yeah.
But Eric Young now, in the meantime, he could go back to Impact, I think. Mm-hmm. I see him also making a Japanese run.
Yeah, like I said, he needs to bring his name up because he's a older person, and people don't even realize he's from the old WWE.
Yeah,
and they don't realize it because of his name is not impacted as much. So I think he needs to go back. But this guy here, perfect timing to be released. It was stupid to be released. Luke Gallo. I mean, not Luke Gallo.
Aiden English.
Rowan.
Oh, Rowan.
Yeah, I think that was the kind of dumbest mistake. Even if I could not really afford everybody, I would have kept WWE, kept them, and let him do something.
AEW.
Because his boy is being big in AEW, and you're going to let him go? Guess who's coming back?
Yeah, that's as long as they don't do the Bludgeon Brother bull crap over there.
No. They're going to do some kind of brother thing or brotherhood stuff.
Yeah.
But oh my God, it's going to be like, Brothers of Destruction type of thing,
I think so. Either that or he may even go to fight him and take his organization, which I would accept that as well.
Oh yeah, that was good. That's a good twist.
Either way, the two of them together is going to be good on screen, and it's just really dumb to let him go to do that. But he's going to AEW, hands down. No doubt about it.
Yeah, I got him going. Matter of fact, me and Jericho talking about it now. No, because Cody, Cody's like, you see him in the background, but he's very smart. And he's probably saying, you know what? This guy just came back. Might as well grab Rowan and, put him as brothers or put him to fight against each other.
We already know that they were sitting on the fact that Harper's contract was ending to place him as this ghost person that has been around but hasn't been.
Right.
You already know that. If you think that if they were sitting on Harper, that they haven't been waiting to hear that Rowan's contract is coming up soon, they already have a plan for him.
Mm-hmm.
You already know he's coming. They're going to have Rowan and Harper while you have Strowman and what's his face that's annoying. That's what's going to happen here.
Yeah, but they did him wrong. Fake spider and all this other stuff. Like, come on. They haven't done none of that since the 80s.
The thing with the cage?
Yeah.
Really?
Listen.
They didn't know what to do with them after the Wyatt family broke. And I honestly couldn't even tell you why the Wyatt family broke.
Yeah. There's a couple of two people that I skipped because we really don't care. Sarah Logan.
Yeah, I mean, after the Riot Squad broke up.
Yeah, she was not
irrelevant.
Yeah.
They never really did anything with her, despite the fact that her husband gets a push, and they're not even using them right. Viking Raiders.
Yep.
And Aiden English. He's someone, too, that I feel like they underutilized. They stopped him wrestling way too soon.
Mm-hmm.
Rusev and him could have had a really good tag team run, and they kept messing with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then to see that you didn't try and think of reuniting them now that Lana had left Lashley, and she was the reason for their breakup in the
That's why I was
place. Like that. He needed to go, but at the time, I think he was an announcer. So you're just getting rid of an announcer, not a wrestler.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Cousins, Epico, and Primo are gone as well. They were backstage, but they're not gone from wrestling. They in Puerto Rico and doing all their thing. So that's where they're going to be. They still making money.
Right.
Who's next?
Mike and Maria.
But Mike wanted to leave.
Yeah, they weren't utilizing
him. He been saying he wanted to leave. He even said it on his Twitter. He said, "Don't worry about it. I've been fighting to leave, and they finally letting me go." Or is that one of these people that be like, "You can't fire me. I quit."
I feel,
no, but he been complaining.
Yeah, they didn't know what to do with him. I think he thought that because he was coming off of such a high push and impact that they were going to try and get him in the championship early, and they did him dirty on that.
Yeah, but they had the stupid line where Maria was pregnant, and then there's all this other
honestly,
stuff.
I think what it was is that her pregnancy made them not want to do the push because they weren't sure if they could actually utilize him on the road.
Right.
And I feel that there were a lot of unnecessary things said during those bits that maybe he took more than just being part of the job.
Right. Like it was somebody else's kid and all.
Yeah.
All right.
But we're going to see them, I feel.
In the Indies?
They're going back to the Indies. I don't think they're going to Japan. I don't think that Impact will take them back.
Mike. Right away, Mike. But Maria, I think she's going to take hiatus and with the child.
Well, of course. But Maria can go anywhere. Like that's more than Mike, right? Mike, who thinks he's the big name. Maria can go anywhere because she's one of those original WWE girls.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? She put in her time, and women's divisions are growing and building, and she can always claim to be a legend, and any league will take her because she's a seasoned pro.
Right. Yep. And then Mr. Woo Woo himself, Zack Ryder. He's gone. Yeah, sad. But he's another one. He's another what I call a roller coaster. He had his up and downs in the WWE. You know,
he's someone who. But here's the thing: he's probably one of the most consistent wrestlers that they've had over the years. I mean, he's been with them for over 15 years.
Yeah, and he never lost fan base. He gains fans.
Yeah, he has.
But
he brought someone up. You know, they gave him the Intercontinental thing for a week, or was it a night or a week?
I think it was a week.
It was a week. I think he won it at a pay-per-view, and he lost it 2 Mondays later or something like that. But he had tag teams runs. He's been mid-card to low-card for years, but he never stopped. He never lost a fan base. So I feel for them, right now, I honestly feel like he's not wrestling anymore. Like, he's not going.
He's probably gonna get back now.
I think WWE might be using this as an opportunity to get him to be like, hey, your in-ring is getting weaker, but we'd love to have you behind the scenes, especially since right now his fiance is working with them.
Yeah. I think Zack Ryder is one of my names on the list to be in Florida, training and all that other stuff, training these newcomers.
That's the other thing too. He's not as physically capable anymore.
Right.
He's not. But I feel like he's pretty good to train and raise up the next gen.
That's true. And
he has tons of experience.
Yeah, and then he's one of those names. No matter where he goes, as soon as you hear the song, "Woo woo woo,"
yeah,
everybody's gonna jump up.
Honestly, if he's not sticking with WWE in some way, shape, or form, Impact.
Yeah,
Impact will take him because there's no bad blood.
Yeah. That's one thing about Zack Ryder. I never heard anything bad behind the stage about him.
And Rachel Green can definitely give him the push there. She knows people, especially since she was one of their former champions. So
right.
I feel like that would be the route for him to go. If he's not sticking with WWE in some way, shape, or form, go to Impact. And I don't think he would do too well in Japan. That'd be the only other place I could think for him to go. I don't think he's an NWA guy. I don't think he's an Arena Honor guy. I feel like he's too big
for them.
Yeah, he's too big for that. Based off
and AEW, since he didn't really have no rivalry type with these people,
he would get lost. Sauce.
Because at least some of the people that come from WWE had some type of rivalry in WWE, but he doesn't. The only biggest rivalry that I can remember him having was with Kurt Angle and Benjamin and Charlie Haas.
Yeah.
When they were tag team fighting, and then later on with John Cena. Right. So I don't remember that many rivalries that he had. So yeah, I think Indies and Impact. I'll agree with you on that. One of the biggest ones I think a bigger loss, Rusev.
Rusev is the biggest name out of all the names we'll talk about, because Rusev is someone who got screwed out of the WWE Championship how many times? As a heel, as a face, as someone who's riding the line. I mean, my dude had a whole when your mouthpiece builds you up so big, like when Paul Heyman talks you up, and you're gonna be a champion. Like right. Lana comes up, Lana and Aiden English with the whole Rusev Day nonsense. How did that wave not take it? They took him to a championship match, but you didn't even give him a 2-week championship run?
Yeah. The Rusev Day was like the yes movement. You know what I'm saying? It's so big.
So big.
And that's why I guess they try to put Lana with Bobby to boost him up, and it's not working.
Because the Lana's twist doesn't add up. The whole thing about even the big push for Rusev from the crowd happened because of the behind the scenes leak that happened when Lana was supposed to be with what's his face, chasing the blonde now. I'm here to show the world.
Yeah. Zach. I was gonna say Zack Ryder.
Wow.
Holy crap!
On the brain. Dolph Ziggler. Right. So when Lana was supposed to be dating Dolph Ziggler, it was released that behind the scenes she had just got engaged or married to Rusev. Right. At the same time, who was he talking with? Rusev just had stolen Fandango's old partner.
Yeah.
Or Summer Rae or something like that. So he was supposed to be with Summer Rae. Ziggler was supposed to be getting with Lana, and then it all crumbled, and it turned into a big fan thing. Like, oh snap, a real life storyline finally getting caught up, and it built up. That was the time for him to be a champion. Rusev Day was the time for him to be a champion. I don't know why they didn't even give him a tag team championship run with Aiden English. This guy can go anywhere.
That's the one thing that I was real like, what where's the belts? Him and English supposed to have the belts. This Rusev Day, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And no matter where he's going to go, it's going to be Rusev Day. So AEW is taking him.
They need to take him so fast. Like, I don't even know what we're talking about. The day he got released, he should have been picked up. He like Leo Rush, can't get lost in the sauce. Right. I feel like if they take him up when all these dark shows are over and all these whatever are done, immediately they're giving him a push for that mid-card title.
Yeah.
I would love to see Leo Rush versus Rusev after they go through the gauntlet to fight for that championship. I would watch it. I'm not even an AEW fan like that, and I would watch it. I get bored watching AEW because half the people I don't care about.
Yeah, but Rusev, he needed been swept up just like a prisoner coming out of the prison. You're right there at the door to pick him up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't even give them a chance to see the world. Like,
I know Impact should have probably been bothering him this last week. Like, hey, we'll give you money. You want some money? I'll give you all the money.
Hey, championships, money. Matter of fact, if I was Jericho, listen, I'm going to give you money, maybe a championship, but that's nothing to compare to smacking Vince McMahon in the face. You want to be, you should have started off with that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because he's going to go and he's going to get big. And
this guy was gypped out of, and the thing about it too, the other reason why it hurt is that, not to say that you should have utilized him as a long-term champion. He should have been a transitioning champion or something.
Right.
The issue is just that you consistently used his buzz to put the champion over. I think every champion on either Raw or SmackDown that Rusev was on and not injured, that was holding a title, had a match against Rusev for the championship because Rusev always had a buzz. Mm-hmm. Always.
And then the point, what was the point of you telling John Cena to bring up Rusev if you're going to knock him down?
That made no damn sense.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you used a big name to bring him up, and then I thought he was going to do good. Like, the whole Bobby thing, I thought they were going to give the championship to Bobby, and then he was going to fight Bobby,
right.
And then here comes Lana to betray Bobby and saying, I was just doing this for my husband to get the belt. Something like that would have been like, wow, you know?
They weren't thinking. Creative at WWE is not thinking.
They need, to fire some of the, I don't see the writers here. You need to fire some of the backstage writers.
The misuse of Rusev is probably the biggest mistake that WWE has had in the last 20 years.
Yeah. But the other names we don't really know about. But
Alexander Jackson, he was some NXT wrestler who just never really got a start. He came in with the A-Kid or whatever his name is. Yeah, recently. He's nothing to brag about. Deonna Purrazzo actually is probably the only name of note here from this NXT list, because she had a lot of buzz, which got her into NXT from the indie leagues. So we could see her going to Ring of Honor, NWA, but she herself has said the only place that I haven't gone to yet is AEW. And her best friend is currently there.
Right.
So I think
they needed a couple more women.
They're trying to develop a strong women's division. They've already taken up a bunch of names from the indies, including some here from New York. Brie Combination Wrestling. So, hopefully they will pick her up because she is a legit good wrestler in the ring. But like she said, it's the only place she hasn't been to yet. Also, Cassius Ohno got recently let go, but I think we all saw that coming because they didn't know what to do with him, and it's not the first time he's been cut. He was just
a weird
It's not the first time he's been cut.
Yeah, and there's just something about him that he's just weird.
I think it's just his physique. He's so big and yet not so big.
Yeah, like he's supposed to be like type of thing, and he's more like
he turned into a joke after a while. Yeah. And I think especially his UK run was more of a joke. I feel like they brought him back to use his name for a special night, and then they didn't know what to do with him after.
Even his suit. So, oh no, if you come back, oh no with the suit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I think Cassius needs to go
revamp.
I think he needs to go to NWA. I think he needs to go to NJPW. I don't see AEW taking him. I don't see him coming back to WWE. And I think he's just a little too seasoned for Ring of Honor. I feel like Ring of Honor and Evolved are more so for...
If he comes back to WWE, it's because his name has to come up. In order to do that, he has to go to Impact or go to Japan or something.
Yeah, I wouldn't even send him to Impact. I think his in-ring game is just too awkward. For what
it's just I don't know if it's the suit or his character. It's just something about him that it's just never got me to say, run to the kitchen because he's, on TV. I don't know.
And then last but not least, there's Tanera Conti, who was recently having a big push on NXT. But even though they were giving her the push, they've been doing it because she was actually asking for release a while ago. She came on TV a couple of times. She was a part of the women's the Mae Young Classic.
Yeah.
And fans liked her. She had a strong indie background. But I don't think she was feeling utilized. She wasn't one of the names that were mentioned, like the EST, like Charlotte, like a bunch of the women who were even on injury, like
and they were still talking about
her. Kick, and her name
know.
wasn't being brought up, and she didn't feel utilized. So she's been let go, but she's been trying to get out of her contract for the last 2 months since before the virus hit.
Right.
So
and some of these people got their contracts brought out. That means that they got paid. They got maybe a year or two left, but they was like, here, take your year or two and go.
I feel like she's another wrestler who can end up like Deanna going to AEW to help build that division.
Yeah, they got a couple good females in AEW. Just adding her and adding a couple of people.
I love the Beast.
Yeah,
the Beast is great.
Yeah.
I follow her Instagram too, and she's just a really funny person. But her on-camera personality is actually, I think, what they need. I feel like some of these women's division need not just that big dominant female, and that especially with a lot of the lightweight Asian wrestlers that they have in the division, that you need that big dominant female to kind of just validate the wrestler. So
and the last one was the referee, Mike.
Mike Chioda. Yeah,
Mike Chioda. I'm just sad because he's been
a part of it for years,
for a long time. So,
but what I was telling Charles is that especially, and we've seen it in NXT, that they use some of the wrestlers who, let's say, they're not showing in-ring promise. They've been trying to keep, instead of letting them go, like take their training and go somewhere else, trying to keep and put towards other things. So I think recently they have their first black female referee who was, an indie wrestler at one point. And now she's just doing that thing. They're trying to just find other places for them to go. So I feel like when you have someone of this note who can be easily picked up by another organization.
And not only that, they need referees. Like, that's, I think, why they're grabbing some of these young built referees to get involved in storylines.
They need to bring that back.
They need to bring that back. So, but anyway, guys, this is us just yapping along about the WWE release. Let us know what you think about our opinions of where they're going to go and what. And if you know any of them and they want to talk to us, hey, you know what I'm saying? We would love to have them on either Skype or something like that, because we don't got that budget to be bringing them here. But we would love to talk about it. So we'll see you next time in another wrestling talk. So hopefully everything will be good and we get back to normal with the wrestling, Yeah. I can say AEW is doing good though, because they have their wrestlers outside making noise, making that. I like that part of the AEW just because it makes it at least a little more exciting.
I'm telling you,
but it's getting boring.
I can't watch AEW right now. Like, I know it's new, so a lot of the stories aren't fully developed, but like legit, sometimes it's just like I don't care about these people.
Yeah, they
some of the matchups.
They need a better run. Chris Jericho, loving him on.
He's
oh my God, he's good
He's
enough.
the only thing that allows me to sit through that show.
I can cook, do everything, and listen to them because he is so funny. And that's what they need. They need announcers like that again. Play by play, because WWE play by play is not great that much no more.
Here's the thing, man. You broke up Jerry Lawler and the King.
Mm-hmm.
That was the greatest thing that you had. Even Michael Cole, being a part of their thing worked. You can't break. After you have that, I mean, you're talking about the greatest duo behind the mic of all time. Nothing is ever going to fit as well. Yeah. I feel like WWE just shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, then they bring King back, and King has been struggling.
Because he can't say half the stuff he used to.
And not only that, it's like he says something, and he waits for the person to do a comeback, and they don't do nothing. So he's like pulling teeth to try to make these guys...
I forget the name of the black guy, but he tries. He's just corny. And they make fun of it, so it works.
Yeah, because now he's jumping up. Ooh, man, sit down. Sit down.
You're used.
Like, no, I love these guys. So if it wasn't for him, I think it would have been him and the white guy from NXT.
Yeah.
Those two are funny. I forget his name.
They're good.
But as announcers, they're good because they fight. They fight with each other a lot.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that all these leagues really need to work on, is getting the proper people to really do the play-by-play and the color commentary of these matches. I feel one thing that's suffered in wrestling is that. And that's universal. That's not just a WWE problem. That's not an AEW problem. That's everybody's problem. Except for
Michael Cole, the only thing he does is, like, once in a while he'll throw in these facts, but, like, we don't really care sometimes.
He's not excitable.
He's not.
He's not.
He's one of them that you throw the facts and then you have the other two that argues back and forth. Right. That's what was good about it.
You have the colloquialisms of JR. You have the King and all of his random, like, one-line words and his...
Even Booker T. Bring Booker T in.
Booker T should definitely come back.
Booker T. Bring him back.
Oh,
he was good. He was funny, laughing back and forth. And it's like he'll laugh because he'll forget a word or two and then he'll be like, oh, man, it's the age. It's the age. You know, but he'll keep on going.
Oh, he was great on the mic. I love when he comes in and sits down before the pay-per-views. I think that's great.
But let's see what happens.
Beth Phoenix, I like her too.
Yeah, but she's starting to talk more.
Yeah, she's
starting. Because before I was like, you want to talk? It's just something about her voice that sometimes gets annoying.
No, but I like her. I don't really care for Cheryl Caruso.
Nah, Cheryl Caruso. Nah. Beth, keep it up.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit more, but keep it up because she is starting to say, oh, no, those hurt because I remember me grabbing on these moves. And, you know, so she's putting her input in. I like that.
Now. Yeah.
So.
And she has that experience.
Yeah. Hey. And then, let's see what happens with everything that comes back. So we're going to do this again because now, some of the wrestlers are going to be coming back soon. They're going to be opening up the states and all that. So let's see what happens.
Right.
But, I'm Charles Laloma, and this is, my boy, my side, my friend, my family. You can't, I could go down the list. But that's Will Davis. Check him out every Sunday. Will's Review, 6 p.m. on the LDM Network. So we'll check you out another time.
Catch y'all later.
Bye-bye.